Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmtown.com. Today's episode is going to be a time machine, so basically it means I have to go back in time to yesterday to make up for a day that I lost. So today is May 4th, 2024. This is the Wanted Show, and it's all about gadgets and gear and stuff that Mayor Watt wants. So let's get into it. The articles that we're going to run down, I give it my own titles, and then we talk about it for about an hour. And maybe for today's show, I can get it down to about 45 minutes. So stick around. I hope you enjoy the show. We actually have about 1,000 episodes across the ohmTown network of shows over on YouTube and the podcast. The daily show, which is ohmTown Daily News Show, is every day at 8 p.m. Monday through Friday Eastern, and Saturday and Sunday it's at 5 p.m. So I'm trying to get two shows done today before the regular shows start. So let's go. We're going to talk about gaming projectors, the Withings Beamo, running with headphones, the Noctua that is teasing us about a gadget, the Cheyenne Supercomputer, games like Ticket to Ride, which I actually, shame on you, Ticket to Ride, and digital frames and Star Wars rugs and other things about Star Wars, because May the 4th was yesterday, or today, because it's a time machine. A massive SSD is on sale, and AI PCs are about to land. Oh, and yeah, that's right. Let me just switch us over to Wanted. So, Wanted is the name of the show, and the sentient AI is not available for today's show, but in about for our regular daily news show, they will be available. Okay, so let's get into this. The first article is over in the Warcrafters channel, the best gaming projectors in 2024. I've been really looking at these gaming projectors, or projectors in general, because basically I want to be able to put a massive screen on a wall and play games on one screen. Typically, I would see somebody using these not for like PCs or something like that, but for a PlayStation or Xbox. But if they're high enough quality, they can pretty much do anything. So the article is over at GameRant.com. Megan Miranda Reyes is the author. And the deck statement says, gaming on a big screen is a dream for many. These top gaming projectors make it easy to fully immerse yourself in games, movies, and more. And frankly, nothing really immerses you in a game, a movie, and more outside of VR. So I've always taken that kind of a statement with a grain of salt. But they talk about the Bank or BenQ, the Wemius, the BenQ X3100i, Nebula by Anker. It's a kind of it's a cylinder, really. They call it by Anker Capsule 3 laser. And then Samsung, the Freestyle second generation projector. And they break these things down a little bit. The real problem with any of the projectors, until you get into the several $1,000 range, is that they're 1080. No matter what you do, they're 1080. So this one, all three so far, okay, so the first two are 1080. This one's 2160. This one's 1080. This one's 1080 and hard and fast 1080. Samsung, the Freestyle second generation projector is they have it on sale, I guess, at one source. I'm not sure which one they're actually talking about. Walmart, saying that it's $596. And like I said, these are all locked in at 1080. Although this one up here, the X3100i, says that it's 3840 by 2160. But I think, yeah, it's $2,000, right? Yeah. So that's what it's going to end up being. You either get something small and somewhat portable and approachable, like this one down here, the Anchor. This one is actually fairly portable, only 2 pounds, basically a 6-inch, 7-inch tall, 4-inch cylinder. It's 3.27 actually, so 3.5-inch cylinder. And it actually comes with a battery pack, and you can run for 2.5 hours of continuous play. So I thought it was neat, but it's 300 lumens and locked in at 1080. So really it comes down to how much you want to spend, how long do you want it to run, if not plugged in, additional features and whatnot. So go and check this article out and see if you dig it. Yeah, some of these are pretty big. Like this one here, I don't even see the dimensions on this thing, so it's going to be pretty chunky. But you can get a 150-inch screen out of it, so, and it's 5 times brighter than the most portable one. So that's what you're going to look for. How bright it is, which means that you don't have to keep the room so dark, what the resolution is. And those two combined basically lead to, it says, offers true 4K HDR to create a premium viewing setup in any home. But it says the native resolution is 1080. So take any of this with a grain of salt. But again, it says it's $1,000 at least. So I don't know. So that's what I'm looking into right now, is a good projector, so that you don't have to have a massive screen sitting there, because you're looking at spending $1,500 for something that you have to lug around and it's huge, right? Well, you can actually throw a projector onto a wall, a standard wall, as long as it is somewhat even and has some reflectivity, which you can get special paint for, and then you don't have to worry about it. And you can also buy a screen, and 150 inches is massive compared to an 85-inch screen. So for the same price, you can get a 150-inch screen projector, I should say. Okay, let's keep going though. I won't spend too much time on the articles today. I just put the link into the VOD, so if you're interested, you can follow the link. Here's the next show, or the next article that we're going to talk about. In the Wanted channel over on ohmtown.com, Withings Beamo is shaping a smartwatch-free future, and it's accurate. So I've actually been looking into these because I want contactless, and I want telemetry. I want data, health-related data. And so I like to get my stats. Measuring weight, working out, temperature, things like that. You want to be able to keep track of them if you're kind of a health nerd. In certain ways I am, but anyway, it says that it can often feel like we want to take the what wearables make possible for granted. It's no small task to pack enough sensors to track your heart health, blood oxygen levels, and body temperature into something compact and stylish, enough to fit on your wrist, let alone a finger. But there is, I just forgot the name of it. Omron? Yeah, I think it's Omron is making a wrist-based blood pressure cuff that does the same thing, blood oxygen levels, heart health. And I think it does heart temperature, doggone it, body temperature as well. But the this Withings one is one that I was looking at. Ian Carlos Campbell over at pocket-lint.com. I wish they would buy the... Oh, I think I've already said this before. I think that pocket-lint.com goes to pocket-lint.com. Not sure. Anyway, so you don't even have to put something on you to get this information now. Withings' new device, Beamo, is a handheld multi-scope that combines sensors to take accurate health readings without being worn on the body. It can measure body temperature, heart health, lung health, blood oxygen levels, and sync the data to an app so that you can control or get control over your various metrics. Keep an eye on yourself, basically, or family. Beamo is aimed at families and can store medical information for up to 8 separate people. It's currently waiting FDA approval and set to launch in June of 2024. This, I believe, was already in Europe. At least I was reading about it as if it was already in Europe, and not in here, but in other sources. Along with, hold on a second. I'm gonna do it live. Why not? Why not? Sorry. I don't like dead air, but I'm going to try and get this. Yeah, I can't find it fast enough. Anyway, yeah, Omron has a blood pressure cuff that does similar. And although you put it on your wrist, it does continuous blood pressure monitoring and blood oxygen level and pulse. So all of your heart health kind of stuff. But this is really neat because you don't have to touch anybody. You don't have to, stick it in your ear or under your tongue, or even you don't have to, for all of this, you don't have to actually touch anybody. So it's pretty neat. And so you just point it at yourself, hit a button, and off it goes. It's called Beamo, a multi-scope that puts a bundle of sensors into a handheld device that you can use on yourself or family members rather than wear on your body. Think Star Trek, the scanner. So Livia Robic, Beamo's product manager, tells PocketLint that the device was primarily designed to target families and be a product they can use on yourself or others. The dream, according to Robic, was to replace the thermometer many families already have in their bathroom cabinet, the kind that you might have a memory of your mother or grandmother sticking under your tongue. But I don't think anybody has used those voluntarily for a decade plus. Everything right now is contactless thermometers. I think you'd be hard pressed, except like even in a medical office, they stick stuff under your tongue, but that's because the contactless stuff can have a variable, whereas direct readings are always superior. So all of the functionality that I mentioned earlier has typically been in separate devices, but not anymore. It's all about convergence, folks. More and more things are being converged into one, and even the companies that produce this stuff, the companies are being purchased by mega corporations and then converged into a single device like the Withings. I'm sure it's their own research, though. That's what they focus on. If you want to listen to your heart or lungs, we'll tell you where to place the Beamo on the device's screen. The technology of the stethoscope records mechanical movements into digital sounds via a membrane inside. So it actually detects even your heartbeat itself. So it has a stethoscope built into it. Pretty neat. Pretty darn neat. So yeah, it's waiting FDA approval, just like the Omron continuous blood pressure monitor. So we'll see. I know that the Omron one is actually in the EU right now. Not sure what's holding us back, but that's okay. I'll wait. Let's keep going though. 1 second. Let me get back to the chat. There you go. So the next article is over in the Warcrafter channel. Best headphones for running in 2024. Running with the right headphone transforms the experience from mundane to motivational. For those lacing up the sneakers and hitting the pavement or the treadmill, the importance of finding the best headphones that keep up with you cannot be overstated. And it isn't limited to running, by the way. I want headphones that are useful for running, because if I do want to use a treadmill, I have it as an option, but I would rather work out, and they are more firmly attached to me than just putting on a pair of headphones, or even in-ear monitors. If I put my head against the bench to do bench presses, or I'm doing squats or something, or any workout really, those have a tendency to fall out. But headphones that are designed for runners take a beating. You have to keep on running And every footfall, there's a chance that your headphones can fall out. So running with the right headphones can transform your experience. They need to withstand sweat, stay secure during vigorous movements, deliver crystal clear audio. This guide that I'm about to connect you to is dedicated to help runners. So let's go on over to the source. And it's at Game Rant. Mark Storch and Jasper Schmitch, I think, Kinney, put the article together. This is actually, I guess, been updated over time, but it is a weekly show, so it was earlier on in the show or in the week. But they talk about the Shox Open Run Pro headphones, Sennheiser IE200s, the Anker Soundcore AeroFit Pro, the Anker Soundcore Space One, and these are the ones that I actually have. And they're excellent. And the Bose noise canceling headphones 700. I've had similar to Sennheiser in the past. I would discount right away anything that just rests on your head for running. I'm sorry, I have to just bounce those. They actually have one more, the JBL Tune 510 BT. So the BT is Bluetooth. So anything that rests on your head, you run a really good chance of falling off. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. But the ones that you really want to pay attention to, at least again, in my regard, is, again, it's wanted. And I think what I want, a lot of people want. So I would endorse something just by my desire based on my history with headphones. And so in this case, I would say make sure that the piece that goes around your ear and has to grab onto you stays firm. And these just won't do it. I can tell you from experience, direct experience, that the Anker Soundcore Space Ones, they don't necessarily fit even at the smallest curve. They pinch just enough to hold on to you, but if you were to shake your head, those things would act like a non-Newtonian fluid. They would just sit there, and you could pivot your head back and forth, and those things would just sit there while your head pivots. And so they cup your nose in the back of your head, and then when you put your face back fast forward, they would sit on your ears again, and you would just be like a ball spinning inside a pair of headphones. They're not designed for running. There's no way in hell anybody should be running with these just resting on your head. You need something that grabs onto you, holds firm. So I would go with the Shox Open Run. They'll stick to your head. They wrap around you, so it minimizes which way they could fall if they're gonna fall. So you make sure that these are inside your ear firmly enough, and then you make sure that these little straps pinch against your ears so that they're holding on tight, and then you're good to go. Same thing with the Sennheisers. But these Soundcore, let's go down here. See how this, if you're listening to this via the podcast, you're going to run up against this limit, right? You can't see what I'm pointing at. But there's a part that goes in your ear, and then there's a part that wraps around your ear, and that part needs to hold on to you firm. So if you have a hard plastic element like the Soundcore AeroFit, right? They connect via a little connector in the back. You can connect onto the ends, but that may not keep this pinched hard against your ear. So if this little piece right here isn't extremely rigid and flexible at the same time, then I don't see how this can actually work for you. I don't know what they say using air conduction technology. These earbuds deliver fuller and clearer audio compared to bone conduction headphones. Yeah, well, bone conduction is actually vibrating the bone that it's sitting on right here by your jaw. So it's vibrating your whole head, and that's what you're hearing. You're not hearing the actual speakers. But then again, nobody would hear what you're listening to. So it's pretty neat technology, but definitely I would shy away from just standard headphones resting on the top of your head. Okay, I'm going to keep going though. So the next article is over on the Warcrafter channel. Noctua teases something new that looks very much like the desk fan prototype it's had on show before. The article is over at PC Gamer, and the author says, "Here I am genuinely curious as to what Noctua, a company that specializes in making fans, is cooking up. For one of my projects, I have a little 1-inch fan. It's really quiet and very, very efficient at moving air for that tiny little fan. And then there are these massive ones that they make, and everything in between. So the little 1-inch one can be used in a server if you take out the server fans and want something that doesn't sound like a jet turbine." Over on the company's official Twitter account, the company has teased something new is coming with a short teaser video showing what it might be. And from that, it's not entirely clear what they're looking at. It's not certain, or it's certain not to be one of the usual beige and brown fans. And if you've never seen a Noctua fan, stylistically, well, let's just say it's for a special look, if that's what you're going to make your computer case look like. So let's go over to PC Gamer. Jacob Ridley is the author, and the deck statement says, "Before you get too excited, it's definitely not Noctua's next gen 140 millimeter fan. I'm very familiar with the 120 millimeter fans because that's what I replace all of my standard build computer cases. I take out the stock, what just has to be categorized as horrible fans, case fans, budget case fans. And then I put in these Noctua ones because they're typically not available directly from the manufacturer to get it built by an OEM, at least not from where I purchase. Anyway, somebody posted an image, that CS dude, I guess, over on Twitter, posted an image in reply that shows off a prototype for a Noctua desk fan with an airflow amplification system. Lo and behold, it shares the same coverings and curves as shown in the teaser video, albeit in a far less attractive plastic finish to the clean cut black shown in the video. The prototype is essentially a mount for a Noctua fan with USB power, meaning there's no need to keep the fan hooked up to a header in the inside of your case. Now, this is actually something that I've seen on, I think the Fan Showdown. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can find it real quick. It's on Major Hardware, I think. One second. Yeah, so I wonder if this is the same thing. I don't know if I've got the video. Yeah, I don't know if the video is going to be available to me because I'm air gapped. So if it is what I think they're talking about, a case fan being turned into a desk fan, I think that if you go and do a search for Noctua's mythical desk fan and Major Hardware, you'll find it. It's back in July 18th, 2021. So I wonder if that's what it is. Because somebody reverse engineered it, I guess, and you can 3D print it. But they just say that something new is coming with a short video. Go and check it out. I'll probably check it out after the show. Although I'm going to be doing a lot of shows today, along with the AI. Okay, let's keep going though. This next article is over in the Wanted channel. I want this. It ended up being over $480,000 to purchase this. That was the last winning bid. So here's your chance to own a decommissioned U.S. government supercomputer. It was actually the 20th fastest supercomputer at the time. And it says on Tuesday, the U.S. General Services Administration began an auction for the decommissioned Cheyenne Supercomputer. We talked about it briefly earlier in the week, but I want this. Obviously, I'm not going to get it. I can't put this in my lab. Benj Edwards over at arstechnica.com put the article together. It's a 145,152 core Cheyenne supercomputer. It was the 20th most powerful in the world in 2016, and it had been running all the way up until 2023, I believe. Yeah, December 2023. It actually was supposed to end its time frame 2 years earlier, but the pandemic kind of screwed everything up. So it did a bunch of stuff, 1,300 NSF awards, nearly 1,000 projects were awarded for early career graduate students and postdocs. Perhaps most tellingly, Cheyenne-powered research generated over 4,500 peer review publications, dissertations, and theses, and other works. So it was a busy computer, and it's quite large. So you're going to need something more than your residential power to power this thing. So yeah, somewhere around $480,000, I think, was the winning bid. But it is wanted, and it's wanted by Mayor Watt. Okay, so the next article is over on the Warcrafter channel, the best games like Ticket to Ride. I'm just going to hurry and jump into this because these are board games. So it really should have said the best board games like Ticket to Ride. I don't think there was a computer game in here. But yeah, so Catan, Tsuro, Alhambra, Sagrada, Power Grid Recharged, New York 1901, Takanoko, Trekking the National Parks, which is interesting because I was actually working on a game associated with the national parks, but it says winner of the Mensa and Parents' Choice Awards. Trekking the National Parks is a family-oriented game where you entertain both kids and parents, featuring charming illustrations, real-world facts about the U.S. national parks and the wildlife that lives there, encouraging discussions about the natural world. Pretty cool. So yeah, they say like Ticket to Ride. Megan Miranda Reyes put the article together 4 days ago. Well, I've been kind of irate because the makers of Ticket to Ride used to have another app called Ticket to Ride, but they stopped supporting it. But people spent money for all of the maps. And like I did, I purchased Ticket to Ride, I purchased all of the maps, and then they killed it. And they had somebody else spin up another version of it, and that newer version sucks. Absolutely sucks. Plus, I can no longer play Ticket to Ride with friends or family. So I would typically play this every time I went out. Everybody would load it up on their phones and play a game. And now we can't because they've killed the game. And so stopkillinggames.com. And while that has to do with the crew, and this has to do with board games, I'm still dragging all of this gaming stuff kicking and screaming straight to the front door of Ticket to Ride because it gets talked about. Why? Because I don't even know how many people paid for the original Ticket to Ride app, and it was fine. All you had to do was update it. And if you had to license it, well, there's a problem there with, I guess, your contract that you have some time limited upkeep and you don't own the code for your damn game. But let me tell you, it's very frustrating to know that I've supported a company by buying their game and all of their products that are associated with it. Every map that was released, I bought it. And now I can't play it. So anyway, Ticket to Ride's pretty much a 4-letter word to me. Okay, but I'm going to keep going. The next article is over on Reality Hacker, 7 best digital photo frames for 2024. I just bought a photo frame for someone, and I relied on them to set it up, and things are wonky. So the next time I do this, I'll have to have it sent to me, and then I'll set it up as best I can, and then walk them through how to set it up remotely if it's possible. But Medea Giordano over at Wired.com put the article together. Get your pictures off your phone and in front of your friends and family with these Wired tested digital picture frames. The overall best, they say, is the Aura Carver, and I agree. All of these Aura frames, by the way, the top 2 here that are listed, There's actually 9 listed, but 2, let's see, and 2 of them are Aura. So these Aura frames are really high resolution. They have a great picture, and it's why I chose this as the picture frame. And you can send stuff to wherever it is, as long as it's on the network, it'll receive it. So it's a brilliant deployment. There have been these things in the past, but I've always liked the idea of it more than the deployment. And I never really saw any that were high quality enough until I saw the Aura. And so I think that it's a great deal, because then you can send pictures from anywhere to them, and they'll see it eventually as it rotates through. I'd really like a bigger version of this and then put a whole bunch around the mayoral mansion. And there you go. But, you know, a 5x7 or, I don't know, 8x10 might be nice, but I don't know which one is truly 8x10. So best overall is the Aura Carver, and then it says if you want to hang your frame, you get the Aura Walden 15-inch frame. And then the runner-up is the Nix Play 10-inch touchscreen photo frame, which is brilliant because then you can just swipe and see another picture and you don't have to wait for a timer. But there's quite a few here, 9 total. Yeah, I just dig this. The moment you take a picture, you send it off, and a family or friend, if you know you have that friend that you share pictures with, or like their kids, right? Your kids and their kids can send pictures to each other. Obviously, there might be something like that being sent right there, you know, some scribble art or a weird face or whatever. But it's all on the fly. Pardon me, I'm sorry. And there's a 15-inch frame. It says, recently it seems that every digital frame brand is releasing extra large versions meant to hang on the wall. They say that they don't like the idea of a cord hanging down, but if you don't mind it and can find a way to hide it, then the 15-inch frame is for you. You can, it would be really rough to do this, but you can punch a hole in the wall and put a socket behind it and plug it in and hide the cords. You know, it's easily doable. Easily is subjective. It would be a pain, actually, in the grand scheme of things. I'm surprised that there aren't more e-ink, because there's color e-ink frames or boards, displays that you can do this with. But maybe I'll have to look into that and see if that's an option, because then it's very, very low power. So you just have a battery pack back there and you can just pull the battery pack out and put a new battery pack in, and it runs for weeks or months or however long the battery is. So it's pretty neat. Definitely want bigger versions of these digital frames. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Pardon me 1 second. All right. So in Technology Today is an article that's titled, "This is the way to 20% off ruggable Star Wars rugs and washable doormats." And I'm going to go through this real quick because I'm in the time machine, so things are starting to get warmed up here. Amber Gutebie, I guess it is their name. I'm horrible pronouncing that name, I'm sure. Sorry about that. But it's over at cnet.com. May the 4th be... May the 4th is bringing all kinds of fun sales, but this collab is out of this world. And so it has Darth Vader and Stormtrooper helmets. So it says, for fans of Star Wars, May the 4th is a great excuse to pop on some Yoda ears and binge watch your favorite movies. No. But you can get some deals. I don't know if they're still out there now. Again, this is a time machine, so take it all with a grain of salt, I suppose. But they provide you a bunch of discounts, and I didn't even get a chance to take advantage of anything. I started feeling under the weather, so I had to bow out of doing this show and then next show. But here I am, making it up because I want you to be able to see all of these neat gadgets and get these great deals. Yep, save 25% off of a Star Wars product from Loungefly. for 35% off the entire Star Wars collection from Displate. So there's a bunch. I have no connection with CNET or any of those providers of the services, so feel free to go and check them out. I am going to, oh wait, you know what? I didn't throw this article into the show notes. There you go. And let's keep going though. Here's something that I want terribly nowadays. This is over in Reality Hacker. The first 300 terabyte SSD solid state drive is on the horizon. SK Hynix just announced that it's ready to meet the AI challenge with larger than ever SSDs, reaching unprecedented capacities. A 300 terabyte SSD is on the horizon. Monica J. White puts this article together for digitaltrends.com. Can't really say much more about this, but according to Tom's Hardware, SK Hynix's market researchers claim that global volume of data generated on a yearly basis is on an upward trend, and the increase is truly like nothing they've ever seen before. SK Hynix predicts that we'll jump up to 660 zettabytes, up from 15 zettabytes in 2014, so 10 years ago. It was only 15, but I can imagine it would be that much because we have higher resolution monitors, higher resolution recordings and streams. Everything is getting bigger, but the compression may not actually facilitate smaller or keeping things at that low size, because with compression comes CPU clock cycles, which are wear and tear on the overall system performance. So if you encrypt something or compress it and send it, something has to decompress it and play it. And so there's a lot of overhead, computational overhead. And that means more power, not just power draw from the wall, but also power as a CPU and GPU. So yeah, I'm not surprised. You know, when you get into that 4K or better, and more immersive things like VR, you end up having these massive files, and even games are now massive. So they talk more about this, but one of the things that they mention here is that Tom's Hardware speculates that the drive may rival Samsung's PBSSD initiative, which tops out at 240 terabytes right now and is offered on a subscription basis, or Exadrive's 100 terabyte SSD, which, while a solid state drive, comes encased in a 3.5 inch chassis, so it resembles a hard drive, and it costs $40,000. Yeah, so I guess the mayor is not going to be getting a 300 terabyte SSD anytime soon. I don't have any of that Twitch money. So the next article is over in Warcrafters. The first official AI PCs are just about to land. And I'm curious what they actually qualify as an AI PC. And I think they actually mentioned that in the very first sentence. AI everywhere all at once. Maybe second sentence. The third. The AI boom is utterly overwhelming, and the PC inevitably is not immune. About a month from now, you'll be able to buy a machine that officially qualifies as an AI PC, according to no lesser an authority than Microsoft. But you might be surprised what's powering it. Of course, every question of what qualifies as AI is tricky enough. When do a few clever algorithms and pattern spotting routine or two actually become artificial intelligence in a meaningful sense? This might be a little bit, I don't know, a jaded response. Jeremy Laird over at PCGamer.com put the article together, and the deck statement says, what exactly is an AI PC? I would say anything that can run a large language model, but even that is a little nebulous, because there are things that soak up a whole bunch of data and get turned into an LLM that gets downloaded and installed in a package of software that responds like an AI, but it isn't OpenAI, for instance. It's not the same scale. So how arbitrary it is what Microsoft decides should make for an AI PC will become something of a de facto standard. Well, they did the same thing with tablet computing, and the iPad still has dominance. So take Microsoft with a grain of salt as well. Last but far from least, the Microsoft endorsed AI PC must have an NPU, or neural processing unit, with at least 45 TOPS of processing power. That's a dedicated unit. They have a typo here. In the chip for AI processing, any additional TOPS generated by CPU or GPU cores don't count. Interesting. So yeah, these neural processing units are all the rage now, because we use GPUs to do this. So now they're leaning into this neural processing unit, and they refer to TOPS as trillion operations per second. So it's a certain scale at which that neural processor does its job. As for AMD, Hawk Point APU has a slightly more powerful NPU at 16 TOPS, but that's well short of what's required to qualify as an AI PC. Interesting. So we're going to need another chip to do another thing. Meanwhile, I'm getting a blue screen of death from a sys driver that apparently spontaneously combusted. Who knew? Anyway, that is it for the Wanted channel today. Let's see. We always get into the party bus, and then I refresh just in case. Let's see. 3 reasons that the author prefers listening to lossless audio. Because it's got greater fidelity. I don't know. There's no compression hiss. All kinds of things. So, but that's it for Mayor Watt. The sentient AI is on break, recompiling some code, and we'll be back online here probably in an hour or two. We'll see. I've got another show right after this one called Warcrafters, which talks about first-person shooters, simulations, survival crafting games, and it's something that that's my focus when I'm playing a game. I like survival base building crafting games. A new one, what is it called? I just downloaded Hex World. You know what? I'll save it for Warcrafters. But that's it for today for the Wanted show. See you in about 15 minutes or so, maybe less. Depends on how fast I can get this done. I got to reset and recharge the time machine, because it's another show from yesterday that I've got to record. So see you soon.